One of the really challenging aspects of this dark night, that dark night of the soul, is that I came into the realization that there is a very, very dark element in relationship to martyrdom. And I don't want to take away the greatness. I don't want to belittle the majesty of martyrs. But in my own little crucifixion that I experienced, I realized that a tremendous good came out of it. And it gave me a worldview that sometimes it's the only thing that snaps people out of their crap. But at the time of this realization, I also came into contact with some a book of collective writings of Ralph Waldo Emerson. And in the beginning of that collective works was a really old green bound in a green hardcover. And in the introduction, the editor or compiler of his works that were in this book made it clear that he came to a point where, because he was a preacher first, and he realized that a person, the communion should be done only once, and it should be effective that one time. And in my mind I realized, yeah, Jesus went to the cross. Nobody else has to go to the cross if the ritual is effective. And the ritual is one of realization and understanding. And it's related to what I said earlier about taking self-responsibility and self-accountability for our own affirmation in life rather than the negation of life. Some have termed it a metaphysical kind of experience, an alchemical shift in consciousness, where the realization is had that we have the choice, in our free country anyway, to choose to affirm life or to negate it. And everybody does this a little differently. However, there are forces at hand at any given time that are so far beyond us that to truly be responsible and accountable is a measure of our own character, is a measure of our own being. And taking ourselves too seriously, too literally, can cause all kinds of problems. You know, a martyr, a true martyr, I feel, is related religiously, not politically, to the goings-on of the world. And I think immediately of Martin Luther King Jr. Peace be upon him, with him, and within him. But he made it very clear what happens. You get shot. Because there are forces that are greater than us. Now, he chose not to forfeit his life, but to sacrifice his life. And that is a holy and divine act, which are metaphysical terms. The holy and the divine are poetic and metaphoric, not literal. Though I think there's many in the political process that can comprehend something like this, but it's obvious to me that there are a whole lot of martyrs who really don't have the full weight, depth, and meaning in realized understanding of what they're fighting against and what they're fighting for, because they are too well paid. You know, I wonder, it always comes to my mind, you know, if you went without food on a regular basis, if you didn't have dental care and optical care and medical care, if you had what those you are supposedly fighting for, if you were in the same condition, would it change your perspective in that a deeper realization for the important things in life? There are plenty of people with rotten teeth. There are plenty of people who are blind. There are plenty of people who are starving, who barely make it month to month, who have a deeper spiritual realization of what life is about than all the rich put together. And I don't want to say that all the rich are bad. These are general statements, poetic even, metaphorical. But I'm trying to encompass a larger view that some things are just not my match to die for. And many people would want me to just disappear, exile, condemn me, that I would never be around and they'd never have to swallow some of the more difficult things that need to be digested. I realized for me that I went through a near-death experience as a result of some of the realizations I had to go through, and it was only by something quite miraculous that I made it through. And yes, for a time, it left me a bit exploded. Other times I was completely inert, unable to move. It paralyzed me. But I made it through. And I have to give kudos to my parents because they're chugging along. And when I see them, I want to rejoice in their efforts, their endurance and perseverance, and that they're still capable of cracking a joke and smiling, even a deep guttural laughter from really deep down. This is the affirmation in life as far as I'm concerned. This is the greatest thing possible. Because I have a personal experience with what they've gone through that is at a deeper level than even their grandkids. But it's not as deep as their own realization and understanding. There is still a mystery there. There is still awe and wonder. The hope-filled expectation of learning more. I'm very blessed. I was raised as a young man with my grandparents around me. I was raised in a family that had a home business, so they were home a lot of the time. I've had not too much illness in my life, and children. You know, in the big scheme of things, I've had many boons, many blessings, a great bounty, a great booty. And I see in myself that there are ways to balance that out so as not to become too selfish with it, so that it doesn't become common, banal, and I miss the message of it. So there's a place in suffering. There's a place for suffering in realization, but it can be taken too far. And I may seem ego-centered and selfish because I don't go that extra step of complete martyrdom. But I have to realize that some are better suited for it than I am. And that's what makes it effective. I am no Martin Luther King Jr. Thank goodness. Because there's opportunities for people to be those renditions of the martyr. Still possible. I think Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. He was shot too. Self-importance I mean, it's good to be nice. It's not nice to be too good.